You're listening to the Marketing Club, and today we're gonna speak about what kind of website platform you should use for your business. When it comes to making this choice, you need to be aware that it's a really subjective topic to speak about. So in the end, you shouldn't only go by the suggestions you get in this podcast. You should go with whatever you feel works best with you, because I don't know everything about you, your skills, and what kind of business you're running, so you can't blindly follow this. Anyways, let's get to it. So I saw this guy posting on a discussion forum yesterday. He ran a service business doing painting and carpet cleaning, and he wanted to know what kind of website builder he should use, and he had been considering a few options already. Either he would go with Squarespace or learn HTML and JavaScript on his own. And he had also thought about using ClickFunnels, but he still wanted to hear more about what he could choose between, because he wanted a nice website that would be beneficial to his company. So before we say anything else, you need to know this. A website isn't always only a website. For example, you need to be aware of what kind of business you're running and what role a website will play in your marketing. So for example, if you're a local service business doing carpet cleaning, you don't really need anything advanced. You might want a website that lets you show what kind of services you provide, what area you're active in, and maybe you want to upload before and after pictures or something like that. And maybe you're looking for things like mobile responsiveness and letting visitors be able to watch your website on mobile without having to zoom in and stuff like that. And if that's the only functionality you're looking for, you shouldn't really spend a lot of time deciding, because you're looking for something of the most basic kinds of website available today. So for example, if you just want a website that lets you write a simple piece of text and add a few pictures down below, and you want it to be mobile responsive, basically any kind of website platform lets you do that. It's not a hard choice to find. It's not a hard hunt to find. And then it's also about what your level of technical skills are. So if you don't know anything about websites, if you don't know, and if you're really not a tech guy, if you're not that good with using computer programs and stuff like that, you just wanna get your information out there, you should be looking for the most basic options out there unless you really feel like you want to learn how to do it the hard way. And it's in the end, it's all up to you. But let's say if you just want a website without having this kind of learning curve, this steep learning curve, you'd be better off going with something like either Wix, Squarespace, or some other kind of build your website in 5 minutes kind of service, because they actually let you build decent websites really quickly, and you don't have to worry about you handling your web hosting and stuff like that. So if you're really basic when it comes to tech stuff and you don't want to learn it, that's the way you should go. Unless you want to go more advanced, if you want more functionality to your website, or you feel like you really want to learn doing the slightly more advanced stuff. And when I talk about slightly more advanced stuff, I'm talking about stuff like WordPress, for example. WordPress is an open source system for building websites, and it basically lets you you need to install you need to get a hosting account by yourself, for example on SiteGround or Bluehost or whatever these web hosting websites are called nowadays. But you need to get your own hosting account, set that up, and then you need to install WordPress on that server. And after you've done that, you need to start customizing your WordPress site. So for example, you need to install plugins for, let's put it this way. You wanted more functionality. So let's say you want a membership area for your online course, for example. In that case, you need to install a plugin for having this kind of membership functionality to your website. It doesn't come natively with a WordPress, but it's really simple to install these plugins, and in most cases there is a lot of free options available, so it's great. So you don't have to hire someone or do it yourself when you want more functions added to your website. And this still requires some more tech skills than just using Wix, for example. But it's still really easy if you're willing to spend some time learning the ropes. And I really like WordPress because originally it was mostly for blogs, but nowadays a huge amount of websites run on WordPress, even those you don't really expect to be WordPress sites. For example, I think some of the world's largest magazines and websites run on WordPress, even though it doesn't look like that, because you can really customize WordPress. You can change the feel and the look and the functionality. So it's basically like if you made a website in any other way possible. If you're more of the intermediate user, if you wanna get this increased functionality and more and you also get more control over what goes on. For example, if you get control over how fast your website runs, because you have control over the hosting as well. So if you feel like, damn, my website runs really slow for users, you can move the website to a faster server, for example. But let's say you had a website on Wix, you wouldn't be able to do that because it's more of a done for you solution. You don't really get more control other than actually choosing how the website looks. So anyways, I consider WordPress the intermediate to advanced option, because you can really go far with WordPress, and you can do, and the possibilities are actually endless. And yeah, you might not want to do everything on WordPress, but it's really damn good, and to a lot of people I'd recommend it, because and as I mentioned before, you need to install plugins to actually customize the website to look however you want it to look. And in that case, I have a few plugins I recommend that I use all the time on my websites and on my clients' websites. So for example, you wanna be able to really design each page to your liking. You wanna just have a look that's the fit for you and your business. In that case, you want to get some kind of page builder that works on WordPress. So what a page builder is that it basically lets you build your website without doing the actual coding. You just drag and drop different elements, so you can choose like, oh, I want a title here, I want a contact form, and I want a picture about it. So that's a really intuitive way to start building websites without learning web design first. So to get a plugin like that, I recommend a few of them. So I recommend a page building plugin called Elementor. There is both a free and paid version, and to a lot of websites you can really go far with the free version. So let's say you have a WordPress site already, I recommend you to install it right away and try it out, because it's really simple to use. And if you feel like you want the increased functionality, you can get the paid version as well. It's really cheap, as I think it's something like $50 for a license. So that's a great starting point for getting total control over how your website looks. But if you're more of a hardcore marketer, you want to build landing pages, you want to collect testimonials, you want to include timers for your offers, for example. If you want to do this slightly more advanced stuff, and this probably doesn't apply to everyone, but if you want to go really hard with marketing on your WordPress site, I recommend you to check out a collection of themes and plugins called Thrive Themes, and I really like that, so I recommend it to you right now. You can get the Thrive Architect. It's also a page builder, but it's more focused on landing pages and doing creating pages that actually convert more visitors into customers, basically. And you get access to all of these pre-made sales templates that are made specifically to sell more on your website. And you also get access to a lot of other plugins that are great for increasing your conversions. So I think I'll actually make a video or podcast about Thrive themes specifically. So stay tuned for that if what I just said caught your attention. But anyways, those are the two page builder plugins I recommend: Elementor and Thrive Architect. And there are other page builders for WordPress. But in my experience, they are really, really shitty. For example, I've been forced to use VP Bakery, another page builder, for a few of my clients. And it's really terrible to use. It's clunky, it's slow, and you don't really get the freedom to build whatever you want. So I recommend you to go with the two first options I mentioned and stay away from most of the other ones. So I talked about what kind of website platform you should use if you're a beginner who doesn't want to learn how to do the slightly more advanced stuff. And I also talked about the more intermediate option, which was WordPress. But now let's say you are the ultimate marketer online. You want to build top converting landing pages. You want to add upsells to your checkout. You want to use all of these different online marketing techniques. In that case, I recommend you to go with stay with WordPress and use the Thrive themes collection of plugins and themes. Or you could use something called ClickFunnels. And ClickFunnels is basically a platform to let you build more funnel-like websites where you can do all of these different things like upsells. Just include everything that's a part of a funnel. In that case, you should go with those two options because they are more focused on that task. Now I think I'll actually make a new podcast comparing Thrive themes on WordPress to ClickFunnels because I think they're both decent alternatives, but they are different and they both have their pros and cons. So if you're a marketer who want to build a complete funnel online, you can stay tuned for that episode. If you're just a business owner who want a simple website, you have gotten all the information you need to get started. Either you just use a simple option like Wix or Squarespace, or if you want to spend more time on the setup, you can do WordPress. You don't need to complicate it further than that because I've seen some people who know everything they need to get started, but they want to find the perfect solution. They want to find the perfect website platform. So they look for these more obscure options. And the thing is, if you're looking for the more unique alternative, if you feel like, oh, everyone uses WordPress, so I don't want to use that. I'm a marketing hipster. What you need to know is the more popular a website platform is or a system, the more people have used it, obviously. And that means that the probability of someone else experience the same issues as you probably will someday. It's much larger. So if you run into trouble with your WordPress site, for example, you will definitely find someone else who has had the exact same problem, and you will also find a solution to it, because WordPress has a great community. There's a lot of help available, and there's tutorials on YouTube, on Google, in Facebook groups, for example. And there will always be someone who is willing to help you out if you ask for help. So that's one of the best selling points of WordPress. And if you go for a less popular option, you won't have the same security, because if there's less people who use a software, there will also be less people who experience the same problems as you, and there will also be less information and documentation to be had. If you run into an issue with another website system, you will most likely need to look for the solution for a much longer time. So that's basically all I had to say. I think I'll make a new podcast or video about if you want to build online funnels on Thrive or ClickFunnels. So stay tuned for that if that sounds interesting. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. You just listened to the Marketing Club.